remembered it for
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Total Recall, show that remembers it for you. So glad to have you weirdos joining us again. It's me, JethroBot, and I am being joined from, I don't know, is it like 1,600 miles away? It's a lot of miles.
It's a long way.
It's a lot of miles. From the land of the Vermontosaurus, we have the wizard.
Cheers.
Good to see you. Ready to get totaled, ready to get into the groove.
You do have to prove your love to me.
I'm gonna. Real quick, do you want to talk just, a second about the passing of Steve Albini? Since the last time we've met,
We probably
loss.
should.
Yeah,
Yes.
Tremendous loss. Someone who touched a lot of music fans, whether they realized it or not. And someone who really fought for the little guy in the world of music and music production, music performance. He was a hell of a guy. Steve, we are always going to miss you, buddy. Always. And of course, we also have to say a very fond farewell to Roger Corman, master of cinema, small and medium.
And ultimately big when you look at the
there's some-
people
yeah.
that came out of Corman's factory.
Yeah.
So much of modern cinema wouldn't happen.
Yeah. And we will miss him terribly. 98 years old. Whew, man, way to go, man.
I got to meet him once.
Oh, really? Well, we saw him speak with X, the man with X-ray eyes.
Yes.
He screened that, and he talked about how much he loved that movie, how that was one of his favorite accomplishments in his career. And he also talked about Ray Milland, who, if you've not seen X, the man with X-ray eyes, make a beeline to get there, man, because it's a charmer. And Ray Milland, he makes it happen, man. He's so
good.
At that,
So good.
All right. Well, we can't talk too much. I mean, we're going to bring out our other panelists, and then we probably will talk more about Roger Corman and probably even a little Steve Albini as well. But tonight we are on a mission. We're on a very special mission because we're going back to a part of my childhood, my memories that I really don't think about too much, but I definitely remember Madonna hitting the scene. It was like one day there was no Madonna, the next day, Madonna every day, just like that, like she was, I cannot express too much what a instant success she was. And last live stream, this was suggested by panelist Babs, so we're going to bring her on out here. Barbara Lawrence, welcome.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for
it's my pleasure.
Selecting Desperately Seeking Susan. I have been speaking in Madonna lyrics all week.
Yeah.
Thank you for the earworm, by the way.
You are welcome, sir.
I have not been able to get Madonna out of my head, thanks to
you.
And not even my favorite
welcome.
song.
Oh, Get Into the Groove is really high up there for me.
It is
Really
not
high
for
up
me, and it has been
there.
stuck in my head
What's your
all damn
do you
week.
have a favorite Madonna song?
For me,
Mhm.
I don't know. Borderline is pretty good.
Yeah.
I really like Borderline.
Mhm.
Uh, I have a fondness in my heart for Like a Virgin, but that probably has more to do with Weird Al than Madonna.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's a definitely
Yeah.
one of his best. Definitely one of his best. Well,
But
I
no,
mean,
for me, Borderline, like it was one of the first
mhm.
that I
I think it was
heard,
the first. Yeah, I think it was
and
Mhm.
I'm
the first
glad
single. Yeah.
because I don't know that I would appreciated some of the other ones had they been the first ones.
Was Borderline first or was Holiday first? Because I feel like Holiday might have been the first single. I don't remember.
Borderline was the
Really.
first one that at
Oh.
least I remember, but
I I
Holiday could have
always
been
yeah,
first.
I always associated the video for Borderline as being like the first real exposure that I had.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Lucky Star was the one for
Lucky
me.
Star, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because that was pretty early on too.
Mhm.
Well, I know like when we were picking what this episode was going to be, you had several titles in mind, but as soon as I heard "Desperately Seeking Susan," I was like, oh man, that really strikes a nerve.
My
And
Madonna girl crush was showing.
oh yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
what was that like for you? Like
I mean,
when Madonna and this movie, which was practically simultaneous,
I was loving her music, because I loved that first pop album that she put out. That debut album was just a banger for me. I loved it. I thought she was so different than everything else that I'd ever seen. And I grew up in this tiny little town in Northern California,
Mhm.
and she was just so bold and so different than everybody else. And I loved her. Absolutely fell in love with her. Just total girl crush. And I do remember seeing this in the theater. Um, no, I haven't.
I think we're getting some privileged information here.
Shh, that's on the DL. Um, but I do remember seeing this in the little theater in my little town, and just was like, absolutely besotted by her. I just loved her. And then for whatever reason, I don't think I ever saw it again after that. And but loved all the music, loved her still. I've been to her concerts. So and then she took a sharp left into Crazy Town, and I haven't really kept up with that. But uh
Well, we can't be too hard on celebrities because they don't live in reality.
no, no.
It's a lot of times I just don't think it's entirely their fault because you
Well,
know,
no, I don't. You're probably right. I mean, the music industry is, and the film industry, any kind of entertainment industry, you're just loaded down with sycophants and yes people, and
mhm.
you know. So yeah, and she's she's gotten on with her years. You know, not every not every band can be the Rolling Stones and just keep churning them out forever, no matter what. But she seems to be. She's managed to reinvent herself over and over and over again. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean she really had staying on top down, like
mhm,
she stayed relevant
for a
and
really long time.
yeah, and as I recall properly, like she made a boatload of money over that explicit book that she put out,
I
which
have it.
was like, yeah, well, I think it's worth a lot, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
I
because there
still
weren't
have
that
like
many.
Yeah,
I
they
still
weren't
have
that
that
many.
melamine foil cover for it too.
Oh
Yeah,
man, wow.
yeah.
But no,
It's pretty racy.
Yeah.
Madonna worked at being a star. Like she was calculated.
Mhm.
She was smart, and I don't know that she gets enough credit for
No,
staying
she
on
was
top
a
like that. Being on top was not easy, and
Mhm.
no, and she did it.
she was brilliant.
She did it. She was a
Yeah.
hell of a savvy businesswoman when it came to the music industry. So, and her performance in this movie, I think, is charming as a like a debut film role, basically, because this was her biggest film role to date. And her star was certainly rising in the music industry when this movie came out. In fact, that was one of the little pieces of trivia that I found was that um, her role as Susan was so greatly expanded during just over the course of a 9-week filming shoot because her career was just blowing up hourly. And as
Yeah.
soon as Like a Virgin dropped, it just cemented her status in, as a star. And that's when the production company had to start hiring security, because up until that point, like a few weeks into filming before the video dropped, she was still kind of relatively unknown, and no one really bothered her doing all of these, external shoots, in Battery Park or whatever. And then all of a sudden, Like a Virgin drops, and her career just blows up overnight. And all of a sudden, they're hiring massive amounts of security detail to keep fans off the set.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which had to be tough with all those public locations too. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, let's bring out the rest of the panel. Let's get nostalgic with it. Let's go ahead and bring out yet another member of B-Sides. He's the B-Sides Big Daddy, Adam Gray. Adam, thank you for joining us today.
Hi, I'm sorry, I'm just kind of sliding in here sideways because
Yeah.
I've been on Twitter just fucking destroying my own career.
Oh.
Thanks. Yeah, guys. I was able to sit with the watch along last week while we rewatched it, and I fell in love with this movie in a way that I didn't appreciate back in the day. I had not seen it since the 80s or whatever it was, and I was shocked by how charming it was, and I also had a nostalgia enema just seeing New York in the 80s. I lived there then, and I'd forgotten a lot of things, and it really pulled something out of me.
Yeah. There's, we know this movie was not reviewed well, but it definitely has a nostalgia factor. No matter what you think of this movie,
In a great way.
It is a very nice snapshot of, some not always pictured New York stuff.
Yeah, it's basically it's very independent. It involves a lot of scene people from that time and a lot of locations from that time, and it was kind of an eye wash for me. I was delighted, and again, I think I love it more now than I did then.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, we're gonna get on that first. Let's if anyone's like listening and not exactly watching, let's confuse those members of the audience with someone who sounds a lot like me. He lives in Columbus, Ohio. His name is Gravy. Hello, Gravy.
Had to unmute my mic. All right. Hi. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Good. Pretty good. I got my tickets to Furiosa.
Martian Gravy.
Yes. Yeah. A little shout out to the last
Martian
episode.
Gravy. Yeah.
Trying to be my theme.
Yeah.
Doing my thing.
Excellent. And from it's not going to be a total sausage party. Don't worry, Babs. We still have.
She does it all the time.
We still have Yeah. I know.
It would be so funny if it was a total sausage party for this movie.
Yeah.
Yes, it would.
That's a little concerning, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. We Pumpkinhead is in Chicago tonight. She's doing conference work, very important stuff. She's also getting fed multiple meals and snacks and drink tickets and what have you. So
Well done.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So everyone loves a conference.
Oh yeah. If I
But we-
ever
yeah.
have to work it,
Yeah,
an attendee, absolutely.
As long as it's a beer conference.
yeah. And we do have Empress Buttercup with us. Mike is muted right now, so we'll.
I'm
wait
not
a second.
muted anymore.
Oh, there she is.
Hello.
First of all, don't assume my gender. How do you know that I don't? That's what all I wanted to say.
You're always pointing out my microaggressions. It's really, frustrating to be entitled in today's world.
That's right.
To
Sorry,
be fair, Empress does kind of imply something, though.
sorry, not sorry. But also sorry for my dog barking.
We love dogs.
We
and
love
cats.
Saul.
Yeah, we love Saul. We don't mind you, Saul.
That dog has an opinion about Madonna.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
got
And I want to hear it.
everything,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, guys, it's Total Recall, and I brought slides. Boom!
Hooray!
Let's do this one. Okay, I like that.
Fancy.
I like that. Yeah. So
Oh,
right
man.
off the bat, you want to talk a little bit about Susan Seidalman, who just a few years earlier shot on 16 millimeter a film called Smithereens.
Good film.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It actually competed for the Palme d'Or, and I think it was like the lowest budget American film to ever compete for the Palme d'Or at that time. So, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a little bit of a groundbreaking in that regard, coming out to con in that way. Yeah. Yes, we understand.
It calls
and,
me something different.
Yeah, it has a lot of names for you.
Most of them are not
Monster.
Just desperately seeking a transplant.
Yeah.
looking for a transfer to somewhere out west. Yeah.
I don't want to forget to mention, Adam, that we have a Madonna connection because when I was leaving Columbus and you were leaving Columbus at essentially the same time, you gave me some of your stuff. You're like one pack rat to another. Please help.
I did put that call out. It was a conference call too.
Yeah.
Oh God, please save me. I have to drive to California. Or no, New York. I went to New York
It's
first.
New York first, yes.
Yeah.
And I got a copy. I believe this is from I believe the sticker on it is from the video store in New York that you worked at. And it's a copy of A Certain Sacrifice, which is Madonna's actual first movie.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, you just blew my mind.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It is shot on like 8 millimeter.
Mhm.
Yes.
It is.
And-
It is disturbing.
It's
Yeah.
terrible.
Like
it's
it
really
bad?
awful. I have a
I've never
VHS
even
copy
heard
of
of
it somewhere.
So
Yeah,
are you
yeah.
are you positive or negative for that gift?
Is it-
I only meant the best.
It is currently, like, I don't think I'll ever sell it, but it is currently the most expensive tape in my booth. So,
I have it somewhere, I think,
Yeah.
on VHS still.
You should look for it because it is worth quite a bit of money. Bob.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
What movie is it, Jeff? I missed the title.
A Certain Sacrifice.
Oh, Okay.
Basically, it's a cheap ass. We're all too
Yeah.
stoned to make a movie type
Yeah.
affair that she apparently shot on her way to the airport to LA. Like,
Wow.
you know, I don't know what year exactly that was shot. It came out a few years after Desperately Seeking Susan, because like it was so bad, she really had to become enormous for them
Mhm.
to put that out.
I thought
Yeah.
Vision Quest was her first movie.
No,
Vision Quest?
No.
no.
Yeah, I mean, she was in a cameo in Vision
She
Quest.
did a cameo in Vision
Yeah.
Quest, but
Yeah. I've seen. I went through her.
which is actually one of my favorite songs by her.
I know. I love that movie. I
Yeah.
want to rewatch that movie just to see her brief cameo. But I think I've seen off of her filmography. I've seen 10 Madonna movies, which was surprising to me.
Wasn't
She's
that
done 10 movies?
that was Matthew
Crazy.
Modine in Vision Quest?
Mhm.
Yes.
A
Yeah.
very young Matthew Modine.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, maybe we should
Yeah.
watch Vision Quest.
Maybe.
100%. That was going to be my recommendation.
Because I haven't seen it since it came out, but I remember really liking it.
Love that
Mhm.
movie.
Yeah, I did
I-
too.
I
Hey,
can't recall if I've even seen it, honestly.
I've never seen it, I don't
If
think.
you're,
But,
if you're a girl,
Wrestling.
you remember that movie.
Yep.
Yeah, Madonna's in a lot of movies. In fact, she has an NC-17 movie. That was one thing about Madonna, is that, like, you know, starting with Borderline, it was always like there was like a little bit more tease and a little bit more tease. And so, you know, like over a decade down the line, she's like, and now I'm doing smutty books and NC-17
Mhm.
movies, and they're selling, you know, like
Mhm.
this has been the longest tease in
Very
history.
smart lady. Very
Yes.
smart.
Yes. So yeah, like this, she makes that movie, and immediately, like, you know, I think it seemed like she got this gig for Desperately Seeking Susan, and this is all like kind of like fairly new talent. The person who
Mhm.
wrote this script had not written much prior to
No,
this
she was
movie.
this was, and the script actually languished in like development hell for like the longest time, because every time it got shopped to a studio, they would pass on it because the only people who liked it were women and gay
Yeah.
men, and that's it. And so they never thought they would find an audience for it.
Yeah, because those are two very small groups.
That's a bad market.
Yeah.
We don't want the female gay
Yeah.
dude market.
They'll
Nope.
never keep a movie title alive. Just
Or
to
the,
damn
or
them.
the Irish.
No.
I got bills to pay.
And neither one of them spend any money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That
Right.
too. Yeah. Yeah, like you can't find like a lot of incarnations of the jacket in this movie online right now.
Yeah,
No.
totally.
The
Yeah.
one
still want
jacket
one.
sold for like $325,000 at an auction once,
Mhm.
and the others are like long gone. You can't even find them.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, you could certainly get a knockoff if you really want one.
Yeah, you see a lot of people make their own.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A lot of people make their own. It is an iconic jacket. I thought it was really cool how when I watched this movie just today. Sorry, I know I'm behind cramming. But I thought it was really cool during the opening credits, like how many women there were in the lead creative group in
Mhm.
And when I picked
about
this,
this movie. I thought it was really cool. That was directed
Yeah.
by a woman, written by a woman,
Mhm.
women producers, the whole nine.
Yeah.
Wait. Women didn't make movies before Disney. That's not a thing that happened.
No,
Yeah.
everybody knows Disney's the place where women creatives need to go now.
Yeah.
But
Well,
and when I
getting-
picked this movie, it wasn't out of some sort of feminist agenda. It was just because
Mhm.
I liked this movie once. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And it was
And-
popular as hell.
Yeah,
Very,
it
very
really
popular.
was.
Yeah.
Like
It really
I
was.
know that critics didn't like it. I know that it more or less got,
Actually,
you know.
it actually got very, very overall very good reviews.
Oh,
in
really?
fact,
I'd always been under the impression it wasn't well received critically. It just
No, actually, it was pretty well received critically across the board, In fact, enough so that Rosanna Arquette won a BAFTA for Best Supporting Actress for this movie, and she was nominated a bunch of different times for this role. She was nominated for a
Supporting?
Golden Globe. Yeah, oddly enough, supporting.
Who is
yes.
who is she supporting in this movie?
I don't know. It was an
Gary?
odd choice, but maybe. Poor Mark Bloom. Let's raise the
Mark
glass for
Bloom,
Mark
yeah.
Bloom.
Save that.
Oh, yeah.
Save that for later.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, well, we did talk about. I mean, Mark Bloom is in this movie, and we did lose Mark Bloom a few years ago to COVID, unfortunately. So we'll also, we'll salute you as well. Mr.
Yeah.
Bloom.
He was a fine suburban putz.
Mm-hmm. He was,
Wow.
and
I hope somebody says that about me.
Yeah,
and he had it down.
You're my fine suburban
yeah.
putz.
Oh yeah, totally. I love the scene where he's smoking pot with Madonna, and he's like,
yeah.
I know life's about more than just money, but he's like, he can't even figure out what it is.
But
That's great.
I also really like
I was
making
laughing
money.
my ass off.
Yeah.
I'd buy a hot tub from that man.
Yeah.
I bet he sells the mean hot tub.
This looks like heaven. What's going on here in this frame?
Yeah, this is the life that Rosanna Arquette's character is living when we meet her. You know, it's posh. It's got lots of robes and pajamas in it. You know,
Terrible wall art. Yes.
Oh my God, yes. I mean, that was the 80s. People love to reminisce about the 80s in a certain way, and don't get me wrong, like, as someone who tries to surround himself with the Pee-wee's Playhouse type atmosphere, I do love the 80s, you know, but but they were a lot uglier than people are giving it credit for.
There's no Patrick Nagel in the posters in this movie, but there's a lot of awful stock photos, sort of by the yard images going on here. Also, I don't know if we'll get a tilt up at all, but everything is sort of nipple shaped. Everything.
Yeah, so many nipples.
Including
lots and lots of nipples.
Real nipples, artificial nipples,
yeah,
vaguely shaped nipple-y things.
Things that look nippleish.
Lots of pink.
Yeah. In 1985, this, PG-13 may not have even been a year old yet when this movie came out.
Probably not.
So it was originally supposed to be an R-rated movie.
Yeah, you can kind of tell.
After Madonna sort of blew up fame-wise, they heavily cut it back to get it under PG-13 to get the Madonna fans, young Madonna fans in.
Yeah.
Which is a misstep because a bunch of horny 15-year-olds actually do want to see an R-rated movie. I think that's a step.
Yeah, I think but
Quirky's
boys,
will tell you
10-year-olds,
teenage boys and girls, want to see the horny movie.
I was thinking about the girls.
Yeah, boys especially, but yes, boys and girls.
And I think, it does give the opportunity for like even maybe 10 to 12-year-old girls, to talk their moms into taking them in.
Yeah. I mean, it's a financial decision. I can't really argue with it too much, because you do want, younger.
This movie isn't any racier than a Duran Duran video.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's kind of that's one of the things I like about it is like just how kind of like playful and silly all the skin is. There's not a lot of sex. There's not really any direct,
it's not gratuitous. It actually is cute.
It's not gratuitous. It's cute. Yeah, it is cute. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
We'll be getting to that. But the whole story is about how her life is boring. It doesn't really look boring to me in this picture. I'm like, I'll switch with you, Rosanna.
That kind of looks like a goal to me right now at my age.
She's living this very dull life as a Fort Lee, New Jersey housewife.
Yeah, but you're saying that, Jeff, is a man who was seeing Mr. Bungle last week. So
yeah.
Gary did not take her to see Mr.
For-
Bungle.
I'd take her.
for bland suburbia.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that's what she needed. Maybe she needed a little Mr. Bungle in her
She
life.
did.
Yeah,
She
but,
wanted the wild side.
Yeah, but she's reading these. She goes from that to that. That's what this movie is basically. How do you get from this to this? What happened?
Well, I
What
can
happened?
tell you exactly how to get there.
Yeah. I
And it
have
definitely
pointers.
involves the East Village of New York.
I know a shortcut.
Yeah, my liver will explain it.
2 words: crystal meth.
Yeah. Yeah.
My liver isn't speaking to me, but it will tell you.
Mhm. No, but she's obsessed with this woman, obviously. Who couldn't be?
And somehow this comes off as hot. I don't know how they did
Oh,
it.
it's totally cute, man.
Look at her.
You've
Well,
never had anyone lick your armpits before? Get out of here.
Well, I've licked a plenty, but
Well, there
like,
you go. See, there you go.
but let's just say it. She's taking a horse bath. That's what
Yeah.
she's doing, and somehow she's selling it. Like it's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, her character. The introduction of her character is a little progressive in that way, where it's just like you don't, like if they took the stealing out, like it's kind of celebratory of her lifestyle,
Mhm. Oh,
It,
for
it
sure.
manages to pull that
Yeah.
off.
I
Yeah.
would just like to say, I understand this movie. I understand the low-hanging fruit, but I would just like to request a slight cooling on the misogyny because I don't know if I can take an hour and a half of it. Thanks.
Oh, okay.
Well, we
All
are
right.
going to look at Madonna, though.
Yeah.
All right,
do
I'll
like-
see you guys later.
We do like Madonna.
Good night, folks.
I
told
do
you
love
when-
her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
I
that-
do
is
love
that-
her. This was
that's
just
what
such a.
Sorry.
She was such an icon of my time.
Mhm.
And did I dress like her? Absolutely, I did.
Me too.
Absolutely, I did.
Me
Yeah.
too.
She is an icon and she is a hero. And, I was 15. And so
Yeah.
it hurts me to hear people just going at it. So, and I did want to talk about that. So continue on with your conversation, but I would like to talk about ageism and misogyny at the end of this
Well, I
conversation.
mean, I
Sure,
look
yeah.
at this and I find it really empowering. I think that she is just absolutely owning.
She
her
owns her
choices.
own choices. She owns her own sexuality. She owns everything about herself. There's no compromising in her at all.
Yeah.
She's methodical. She gets what she wants, and she doesn't apologize for it. I think that's great.
Yeah,
I
but
think that's
she's-
amazing.
Also,
she's
everyone keeps saying how smart she is and how brilliant she was, in terms of her career and her
Mhm.
her career moves and stuff like that. But then at the same time, we want to,
Eh,
call
well,
her
I mean,
and
I'm not calling her
really
out.
wanna
I'm
ride on
celebrating
for the
her.
classic
I
series.
no, I'm not.
And,
I'm not.
there's a lot of low hanging fruit.
I'm not disparaging anything that she does in this movie or in her career. I think this is fantastic. My opening comments on this slide was she's somehow selling this. It's not because
Yeah.
she's selling it to give 15-year-olds boners. It's because she's taking charge. This is great. She doesn't have to do this, and this is her choice. And she is not run over by the plot. She's not run over by any male or female person in the film. She's in charge here. She's that wild spirit. I think
She's-
this is fucking great.
she is the driving force of this whole movie.
Yeah. She's not a role model though. She is stealing. She's
Here-
stealing a lot.
Did she get in? So I heard that Rosanna Arquette got Best Supporting Actress nominations. Did she get
Yeah.
nominated for anything? Does anyone know?
I don't know that she got nominated for anything because I didn't see any of that when I was doing any of my trivia stuff that I was looking up. But this movie grew her as an artist and in her career so quickly, and it added to that juggernaut of that she was in the
And
80s.
She's world building her own character as a pop
Yeah.
star right now.
Yeah, I agree with everybody's statements that she carried this movie, and she does seem to be the star of this movie. So that just, but
I just want to point out that I disagree with that. I actually
okay.
think Rosanna Arquette is the lead. That's just me.
Yeah, I do too. I think she's definitely, Rosanna Arquette is definitely the lead for this movie. The fact that she won a Best Supporting is what's so odd to me.
Confounding. Yeah, don't get it at all.
You know, but
me-
this is
Sorry,
a
I didn't mean to
pivotal
interrupt. I was
role.
just putting it out there. Yeah.
She's pivotal to every aspect of this movie.
I feel like, Rosanna.
And I love her case. I absolutely love the
We all do.
Hatbox case. Oh, it's so beautiful.
Rosanna is providing the audience's point of view and so forth. She is the protagonist. In this, Madonna is much more of the force of nature, sort of. I don't know what the archetype is called, but she's the free spirit. She's
a muse.
The muse.
She's everybody's muse. Everybody's infatuated with her. Everybody's fascinated with her. And every single person she meets, even Roberta's husband,
Gary,
is instantly attracted to her. You know,
and what is definitely the most ridiculous part of the story.
Hilarious, though.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Yes, but it's like when those two are starting to hit it off and goof around together, you're like, oh, I mean, yes, it's funny, but it's also like it's a little,
And Gary seems more than willing to go along with it too. And not just in the sense of he's trying to track down his wife, but just as this is, he's along for that ride and he's willing to get on that train.
He needs
to get
a little
to
more.
where he knows.
Yeah, he needs a little more life in his life as well. Everyone.
The thorn in the side, the stick in the mud is his sister is the Laurie Metcalf character.
I found Gary to be repulsive, but I also think,
yes, absolutely.
I think Madonna.
There she is.
Oh my
I
gosh.
really think of Madonna as the star of the movie. To me, maybe that's because I favor Madonna. But I also feel like, in retrospect, Roberta's character is creepy as fuck. Like she's
absolutely the reason why we have stalker laws.
She's so privileged and so bored and boring and dull and creeper. Like she's a fucking creeper. God, I didn't realize that when I was younger.
She's an absolute stalker in this movie.
I think I just found my new wallpaper. This is
that wallpaper's off the rails, dude. Look at that wallpaper.
I took so many screenshots of this movie just for fun because there's so many amazing scenes like this. This is one of them, obviously. Yeah. I also have a screenshot of this scene.
I am going to have a hard time talking about these two female leads and not drool over them here and there. So
yeah, I don't think that drooling over somebody's misogyny. I just wanted to just temper it a little.
Yeah. Let's not go over the top. I get you. We're not going to do a Russ Meyer movie tonight. Okay.
I don't mind. I don't want to try to censor anybody's. But I felt like it was getting a little.
I don't want to make you uncomfortable. I'm totally hip to that. Yeah.
And
I absolutely had those.
I didn't say anything at the time, but because I love the movie and I was.
Those stockings, those lace stockings, had them, loved them. Did I chafe my thighs? 100%. Man, did I love them.
Where are those?
They're in the dresser drawer.
Get them out.
Adam's where are they? I'm like, they're still in my dresser.
Is that what happens with those things?
Well, they're stockings. They're thigh highs with garter belts. And when you're a chubby girl with thighs that rub together, yes, it happens.
Well, for whoever,
But look at her. She's just wonderful. Fucking amazing.
Yeah. That outfit, that was like, of all the outfits she wears in the movie, I felt like that was the one that got my attention the most.
It's definitely the one. And I kind of forgot about it too.
Yeah, there was something about garter belts and the boxers. Like it was like, it was almost like she could be drinking a beer in that, like from the bottle. Like,
Oh, there was an entire boxers as shorts phase in the 80s. I don't know if that was going around in your school, but it went around in my school, and every girl had boxers.
wow.
And a lot of dads had heart attacks.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I had a vasectomy just for that reason.
Oh, there
Well,
he is. There's
yeah,
Gary.
so-
Gary.
So we're going to talk a little bit. Like, I'm glad you were talking about how Rosanna's a little creepy, because we are going to talk about her life, the life that she is living, and why she is reading the personals, like, you know, kind of obsessing over. Because that's how she finds Susan. That's how she finds this lady who's going to put on her boxers.
She's daydreaming.
Yeah, she's daydreaming and reading the. She doesn't like her life with Gary, even though, like, I'm like, dude, like,
she may not even be aware of the fact that she's so unhappy. She's just sort of daydreaming.
yeah, but you know,
And that
I'm like,
was another weird thing back then because we don't have the personals anymore, really.
No, we don't.
No.
Maybe
You
she
know,
was on pills. We don't have a lot of pill taking these days either. Do we?
Well, did she bring enough for everyone?
yeah.
No.
Well,
But yeah, what an odd time when people would get obsessed with the personals.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a
thing.
weird moment in time.
The device that they're using in the personals here was a real thing, and people really did leave
Yeah.
each other random messages.
Do you remember misconnections in the
Misconnections?
Yes.
Yeah.
back of the what was it, Chronicle? Back of the Chronicle with misconnections.
Yeah.
ads.
Yeah, I when the last time that I was an animal protection officer, the person who trained me, she was like, you know, I look at misconnections all the time because, you know, female officers wind up in there all the time. You know, where like we come
Wow.
out to get a bat off your porch, and they're like, "Who's that beautiful lady who came to get the bat?" And so I started looking at it for a little while, just like, you know, I was like,
Oddly specific. That's
I was
oddly
like,
specific.
I was like, will that ever happen to me? No, it never happened to me.
Was it
No, it
just,
never. No.
was it just me when you wrangled that raccoon, or did we have a moment?
Oh, I was so afraid of that skunk, and now I want.
But you really calmed my
skunk.
fears.
Yeah,
And the way you looked into my eyes for that
yeah.
2.8 seconds.
Remember that guy that caught all
Kind.
those guinea pigs that were released on the side of the road?
No,
I don't remember that,
No.
but I
no,
mean,
I want to know more about
Dreamboat.
this story.
yeah,
No, but now it's in my head, living rent free.
yeah.
Why did he
That's
have so
not-
many guinea pigs? Why did he let them go?
And the handsome fellow who captured them all.
I do like the Spanish version of Gary's commercial.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
hilarious. I love that. Yeah.
Boy, Gaddy.
Man,
Oh,
that's a
Boy,
really weird
Daddy.
scene, by the way. I know
Yeah.
it's really not that
Huh.
pertinent, but like, you know, so at one point, Rosanna Arquette, in this huge mix up of identity
Mhm.
confusion, like, is getting chased by a guy who's a killer. And she seeks refuge into some random building in the Lower East Side. And she attempts to get help from a Hispanic security guard who has a bunch of smut on the wall and
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
gives off a very creepy vibe.
he's
Yeah.
ready to do
Gross.
anything for her. That's the only reason
Yeah.
he bothered.
Yeah, but there is the Spanish version of this commercial, which is freaking
In the
hilarious.
background, yeah. It's,
Very good. Ay, muchachas.
yeah, that is a very. You're right that character is specifically odd, and you know, there's a lot of like great cameos in here. In fact, the guy in the bed that Madonna wakes up next to
Yes.
at the start of the film, that's
Yes.
Richard Hell. That's Richard
Yeah.
Hell.
Yeah, from television.
Yeah. He plays a much larger role in Smithereens, by the way.
There's some very
Um,
cool cameos in this movie.
Yeah. But I have some slides of some of them, so we will get to those. But I just wanted to point out real quick that I don't think he even has any lines. He's just naked in bed, and the next thing you find out about him, he's been killed by gangsters.
You never even see
over-
his face, I don't think.
Yeah.
You
No, you don't ever
do
really
in a video
see-
flashback later.
Yeah, she's putting on the earrings. When she wakes up, she rips off Richard Hell's character, who's called Meeker. And one of the things she steals are these very, very hot, actual Egyptian artifact earrings
that they stole.
that they stole and that
Yeah.
they very much want back. So
Luckily, they've been fitted with a new clasp. There's a new
Yeah.
fitting there.
right, yes, yeah, everything worked out
Yeah.
just fine. Not much
They
has
had
changed
diamonds.
in the technology of earrings in the
Right.
past 5,000 years. So,
Wire earrings were the way to go
yeah,
when you
and
were Nefertiti.
Even
for
back
those for those listening along, if you think we're giving the gangster storyline short shrift, let me assure you, it is almost the least focused upon
Yeah.
part of this storyline. It's like you would think
It's an
that like
afterthought.
it's an
Yeah.
yeah. You would think that it would be like the most important part of this movie and what they really sold it on. Oh, mistaken identity, and
no,
you
it's
know,
a
like
MacGuffin with
amnesia, and yeah.
Yeah, it does have like a little souffle. of
Yeah.
You
like
have to
where-
work hard to figure out what's going on with
a
the movie.
McMuffin, if you
Yeah.
will.
Yeah. Oh. A McMulligan.
No, we're back to Gary.
Yeah, we're back to Gary.
Yeah,
Well,
we're
we got
back to Gary.
yeah. So yeah, Rosanna's character does not like her life with Gary, even though it looks totally awesome because it's full of cake and parties and your husband makes these commercials. Like, what? Are you
But
really
yeah,
that upset?
The
No, she
parties were full of pretty awful people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's not very cool.
Stephen Wright's not that awful.
I
mean,
don't
you're
want to
getting
hang
drunk.
out with those people, except
No.
for Stephen Wright.
Yeah, so I don't know what our
Carol
slides,
Leifer was one of the guests in the party too.
I don't
Yeah.
know what our slides look like, but for people just listening or people who haven't watched this recently, Gary's about to get pulled into his own hot tub by a bunch of scantily clad models.
Yes,
basically.
that is what is. Yeah, that is what's going to happen. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But
I will shout
his
out.
wife, yeah,
That does.
his wife is not that wild about it. And here she is with Laura Metcalf, reading the personals. Like, as you can see, she's about as animated as she has been at this point in the movie. She's excited about the personals. She's reading ads where people are meeting up in the park and making the stalker decision to
She's fantasizing.
yeah, she's fantasizing, but she's also deciding, like, I'm going
But
to go
she's-
to that park.
She's built this whole world in her head.
She
Mhm.
has a lady
know?
boner in this, but she totally has
Yeah.
a lady boner over this.
Yeah, she does.
She's never even seen Madonna, and she has a lady crush.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a romance novel thing.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
Yeah.
And
She's,
and so the ad. So
Thank
the,
you for giving us.
Oh, we have a banner.
Yeah, thank you for
she's
giving
a
us a
lady
banner,
boner.
Empress.
Hey, it did make me realize, like, you know, so after she's like in, you know, kind of fallen infatuated with this like relationship that shows up in the classifieds, like, you know, someone puts in an ad saying totally desperately seeking Susan. She loves the word desperate, so she decides to make this decision to go stalking. It did make me realize yet again, we have watched a film from the 80s
Mhm.
where spying and stalking is extremely prevalent. What is
And-
up with violating people's privacy?
And not shamed, but actually effective.
It's
Yeah.
the 80s.
Yeah, it always works out in the end. And I think this may have affected some of my early attempts at relationships.
That's what I was getting at. I'm like,
Yeah, I fell prey to this sort of thinking. Like, chicks dig it. No.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
No.
It's not okay.
Barbara, did you find him outside your window? Is that how you guys met?
Well, he was standing outside my window holding a giant jukebox or a giant boombox playing Peter Gabriel.
No, the sad truth is that we met through the modern classified.
That's true. We did. We met through a dating app. The modern classifieds. Yeah, we did.
See, I tried the boombox thing with Peter Gabriel, but I
Peter
did more.
Gabriel wasn't having it, was he?
I did Moribund the Burgermeister instead, and it had a different effect.
You should have known
altogether.
Peter Gabriel was married back then.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's just
Rosanna.
very-
Okay, so the jacket.
I wanted the money.
Rosanna Arquette gave the jacket to Peter Gabriel's kids.
What?
Whoa,
And then they lost it.
Oh,
What?
whoa!
Oh man. Spoiled
God
brats.
damn it! God damn it!
Damn it.
Totally.
Rosanna Arquette had a song written about her.
Oh, really? By
She
who?
did.
Oh,
Toto.
Toto. I knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. We talked about that. Yeah.
And she doesn't have to put on the red light. Oh no, wait, that's Roxanne.
That's
So,
Okay.
but yeah, those of you that may not know, Rosanna.
That's really about her?
That's really about her.
That's really about her.
Were they dating?
I
Or they-
think
Yeah, I
they
think
had
so, yeah.
dated, or there was at least a big crush.
Wow.
Well, she's awfully cute. That's a fact.
She's cute.
Yeah.
She's cute.
Yeah.
That's cute.
This is I didn't just put this in here because I wanted to drool over Rosanna. I did want to mention once again, like, the relationship of nudity and PG-13 in this movie. Like, I don't know if because it again, like, they didn't know what like PG-13 was yet. There's this movie called The Bride, which has full frontal female nudity in it, and there's also a lot of the violence too.
To quote another movie, is that a nipple or is that a shadow of a nipple?
Right? Yeah.
Wait.
Well, in this scene, and you can believe me because I was looking, those bubbles are. I mean, they cut it like right at
Yeah.
the moment
Yeah.
they had
Yeah,
to
they worked
stop.
on that.
They got it right up to the frame.
I also
I'm
I just
not
want to
proud
point
of
out it's not gratuitous really, because
No.
there is a subtext there where she's
Mhm.
soaking in Gary's tub.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
trying to kind of relax and let herself go, and she's in Gary's tub. I mean, like, there's no way they didn't think of
But
that.
you notice that she's got that Polaroid of Susan
Yes.
right next to her.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. She has the.
Like
this
a
is good
pop-
symbolism.
Lady boner.
Yeah.
This is good symbolism.
Total
Yeah.
lady boner. She's got a lady boner.
Yeah,
folks.
exactly. There's the key, the ad, the Polaroid.
Yep.
There she goes. She's just.
And she's
Yeah.
soaking in Gary's brown tub.
Yeah.
What an awful color for a bathtub.
Okay, so
That was the 80s.
so my
Brown with a brown marble, and look at that fucking wallpaper.
I have
Oh
Where
my
did you
God.
get that tub? Jeez. that
This movie really
wallpaper, oh
does
my
display it's very deliberate, because this movie displays a wonderful contrast between how awful high-end so-called bougie or fancy 80s was
Yeah.
compared to like what the Lower East Side in the mid 80s was.
Right.
And I love how people
Mhm.
talk about the Lower East Side in this movie. They're like,
Mhm.
they found her in the Lower East Side of Manhattan.
okay,
Which
so,
is
so my
you know.
parents live in Long Island, and that's where I grew up in the 80s. We had those brown fixtures in our main bathroom,
oh.
and they were so offensive that
Why was everything chocolate brown? The rugs were chocolate.
Because it was the 80s.
because
and I
we were
can't-
coming out of the 70s. That's
Yeah.
why.
I can't underestimate how brown the 80s were. I mean, in this movie, everything's sort of, pastel and cotton candy pink.
Yeah.
But
But like younger
in-
people who didn't grow up in the 80s and didn't actually live through it, the 80s was very brown, folks.
Yeah, we had
Yeah.
this crazy lumpy brown carpet in our house
Yeah.
that covered so much of our house.
Yeah. Gold or brass trim everywhere.
A lot of
Yep.
brown. A lot of brown.
Tables that were, glass top tables with
Yep.
Brown
Glass
covered in
everything.
brass, glass
brown
everything.
paneling.
Glass everything.
Yeah.
Glass
smoked
block.
glass.
Glass block.
Yeah.
We'll-
Let's
we'll
build
see
a
some of
glass
that later.
block
Yeah.
partition wall. I want a partition wall out of a glass block.
Well, the thing is, a decade doesn't drop from space, right? So,
Right.
like when we moved through the 70s to the 80s, not everything was suddenly changed out magically. Like we
Yeah.
still had a lot of the 70s stuff going on, you
Yeah.
know. It wasn't all day glow, kids. It was a lot of leftover schlock and shag carpet from the 70s. It was
Yeah,
not,
because the late 70s, you had a lot of olive.
Mhm.
Olive, avocado,
avocado, and
harvest
Yeah.
gold.
sunburst yellow.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the nice thing about having brown fixtures in the bathroom, though, is you don't have to use your toilet brush as much.
You don't have to,
Ew.
but you might want to.
Yeah.
Gravy.
Yeah, that
Ew.
was, no.
Gravy. Gravy.
Ew.
Well, thanks for digressing.
Yeah, no, I was about to say, look, we went off track a bit. What is this movie about?
We may have just wandered just a tad from the
Dad.
film.
Have we dropped
We're in the
I-
weeds
viewers?
now.
We're
I did-
losing viewers.
I did want to get back to something Jeremy said a moment or several minutes ago or whatever it was about the difference between bougie 80s, the high class 80s,
Yeah.
the brass
So
and the
ugly.
glass
Oh,
and the
hideous.
brown porcelain, and you know the 80s that she's like obsessed with. And look at how kind of out of place that jacket looks, you know, like
Mhm.
that she's come home and she's just put it over her creed pantsuit or whatever it is she's wearing in this,
Right.
She's wearing Gap.
Yeah.
And also the
Well, even okay, so
front-loading
even when
VCR in the kitchen is kind of a tip off too. That
Mhm.
Yeah.
these people knew how to upscale this kitchen set or whatever.
the biggest tell that you get of where things are going in the yuppification of everything in the 80s is when you get to Dez's apartment and it's cleaned out and he runs into the ex-girlfriend that's cleaning her out and she's totally yuppied. She's totally, white pantsuit,
Yeah.
high style hair,
Yeah.
and the bougie guy that she's with too, who I don't know, I can't remember the actor's name, but who plays kind of that smarmy dick in every movie I've ever seen him in.
He is playing the same character.
Yeah,
in,
over
like
and over and over,
over and
again.
over,
Yeah.
and so is Gary. Like Gary really is. Like I think this guy was in. Isn't he the dad in Terror Vision, where they're swingers? But yeah, he's got that role down. And you're right, the scumbag.
Yeah.
Like that's got to be
Wall Street guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be tough, when like you're always
No, they really did. Not to tangent too hard, but you might want to check your chat settings to allow potentially offensive comments, because all I did was mention that the 80s weren't in India, Black Lives, but you can download them from India.
yeah.
I got blocked for that, so we want to loosen up your chat filter a little.
Adam.
We'll do.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Okay,
Yeah,
well
but-
we're gonna get back to the. So this is like this is her following Susan around, buying Susan's jacket. That's how she winds up with that Polaroid and key. Her husband is like, "Oh, a used piece of clothing," like
Yeah,
can't believe it.
disgusting.
Yeah.
Hey, you don't have a slide from that thrift store, do you? Because that thrift store was awesome.
No, I don't.
That thrift store was a real thrift store
Yeah.
called
That's a real store that
yeah.
I've been to.
Yeah.
Cool.
It was a real thrift store that closed in 2009 because the rents in the East Village just had skyrocketed to the point that they couldn't run it anymore. But the thrift store was called Love Saves the Day.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Love Saves the
Yeah.
Day was an institution. They also sold a
Yeah.
lot of vintage toys before that became like a big thing.
Oh, neat.
They also had a pink hearse that was parked out front every day. It was absolutely a magical, wonderful place that you couldn't afford to buy anything. But that was a real store with a great big awning and their name painted on it. It was kind of a landmark.
There's a lot of
has
landmarks
such
in this
a-
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that has such a it really just feels like what I remember about, walking around New York and going into, just stores and stuff. Like
Yeah, we went to New York
Yeah.
together, didn't we?
Yeah.
Didn't
We never went to New York together. We went
Okay.
to Detroit a couple times.
Yes.
Never
Okay, I'm
made it.
confusing a
Yeah.
different trip, but
Yeah.
yeah. It's all gone now, kids. It's all gone. In the 2000s, especially right around 9/11, everything just changed. Everything, all of the culture and all the independent stores and everything just got fire hosed off the streets. All of these wonderful hole in the wall places just got shoved out, and rents were doubled, and it was a sad time. I still to this day have a hard time walking around downtown, because so much is gone now. It's pretty sad. Chinatown is the last holdout from what I've seen.
Yeah, it's like the area that they're talking about in this movie, the Lower East Side, the East Village, whatever you want to call it, like, it's been pretty heavily gentrified at this point,
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah. I mean,
It's-
if you
it's
went to
insane.
any of those places, if you got to see it, even
That's where-
even just 20 years ago, then yeah.
That's where I spent my weekends in the 80s in high school. I would take the train from outside of New York from my parents, and we would just run around. If we had money to shop, we would shop, but if we didn't, we'd just hang out in Washington Square Park, or just go window shopping, or go to the top of the Empire State Building for $2. Yes, you could do that then. It has changed dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like, in the late 70s and through the 80s, there was so much like vacancy in Manhattan. People had moved to Lee, New Jersey,
Yeah, the 70s were not kind to the New York area. It got out of control, and it's a mixed bag, because like Ed Koch, the former mayor, who had like 85 terms in a row, did somehow manage to turn around the city in a positive direction, where you didn't have just blatant arson fires and things like that. But we lost a lot. He scrubbed all the graffiti off the trains, and you can be on whatever side of the fence you want about graffiti, but that was culture for kids with no money and no future. That's where hip hop came from. All that stuff was the scales tipped. So something was gained and something was lost. It became safer, not by a lot, but it became safer. I think Steve Buscemi would back me up on this. Having been punched in the face last week in New York. But there was just, you have to have low rents and a sort of whatever attitude to foster culture. When the artists and the oppressed are the only people that will be willing to live in a certain type of situation cheaply, it grows culture. And this happens in every city everywhere. But this was a weird turning point. Like, New York started getting cool again, started getting a little bit safer. And I spent my weekends there for years. I went to high school in Manhattan for a year and a half, at a specialty school. So yeah, watching this is a real trip for me. I'm done now.
It definitely has that like time capsule effect for sure. So
look at Aiden Quinn. Isn't he handsome?
there he is. He's pretty good looking in this movie, and he bears it all.
Yes, he does.
Hubba
hubba.
Yeah,
and he wears suspenders.
Yeah, he
Which
pulls
is
them off.
super cool.
Yeah. So the plot here is like, now she has bought this jacket. She has continued to stalk Susan, and then she gets hit on the head. And this guy has been sent to kind of look out for Susan by a good friend of his, and he thinks that she's Susan. So now you get the old switcheroo. So yeah, I think
it's very silly and in good fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mistaken identity and amnesia.
Yeah.
Both
colliding.
At the same time.
Yes, colliding.
I'd forgotten about the amnesia component. I knew there was the switched identity, but I hadn't seen this movie in like like Jeff pointed out, I was like, oh, I watched it with Nikki when we were dating. This was like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is he's dressed exactly like a street magician in New York City in that period. And I'm not. That's not a dig because I actually did hang out with a lot of street performers and magicians and stuff. He looks exactly like a guy would just start making tennis balls disappear and whatever.
Gotcha.
Totally.
I think she had amnesia for like a week. It seems like, which is
Right.
crazy because, like, just out there with amnesia.
Yeah. Doesn't go to the doctor.
And it takes another hit on the head for her memory to come back.
Right.
Very, very silly. Very silly.
Yeah.
I should try
That's how it works.
That's
That's
a crazy storyline now.
Yeah. It's exactly how it works.
In every amnesia movie ever.
Yeah.
You get one hit, you get amnesia.
Yeah,
2 hits, it's gone.
generally
and-
getting punched in the face is a pause button, and you just pause that character till later scene, and that's just like reality.
Yeah. And, violence, just like stalking, part of romance.
It helps. It helps a lot.
Yeah.
The only thing this movie's really missing is some puppet sexual tension.
So, yeah. I feel like it comes
Well,
close too.
There
is
is
a
a
puppet-
ventriloquist act.
There,
So
there is a puppet in it. There is a puppet in it.
It's coming, folks. It's coming.
Yeah. So yeah, we have this storyline going along now, and he's a stand-up guy. He wouldn't hit on his friend's girl, right? Yeah, right.
Sure.
Anyway, meanwhile,
I-
the real Susan is mooching off her friend. What were
I
you going to say?
I mentioned this in the preview when our pre-watch. I had those socks, but I had them in orange, and I remember where they came from. They come from a store called Unique, which was this massive place that everyone shopped at down on 8th Street, and they specialized in like huge surplus bulk and then like new trendy things. Like I got those socks for like $1.
Wow.
Yeah, and you could get the matching tights right there. That is a very specific look, and thousands of people rock that look. I was there.
Oh, all right. And
I love this. I have this also screenshot because I think it's such a cool fashion.
Oh, it's awesome.
moment. It's a cool fashion moment.
Oh, they're
Yeah.
sitting on the broken down couch
Mhm.
outside of the
Magic Club.
The magic.
This-
Club.
I mean, it's so
she just
great.
got
It's
got
so
fired. Yeah, she just got fired in this scene. But like that doesn't matter because Susan is still going to mooch off of her, because I'm telling you, even though she's very strong, independent, and intelligent in this film, she is not a role model. She's not a good person.
No.
I
It's
don't
just-
I don't hate Susan, but
I
I'm
don't
glad
hate
she's
her,
not. I'm glad
but
she's not
she's-
my life.
but
She's an opportunist.
She's a leech, but she's a lot of
bit
fun.
Yeah.
If you're going to be a symbiote, you might as well be a fun symbiote. And
Well,
one thing about this particular scene that I really love is that, okay, her friend gets fired, and Susan really doesn't have anything to do because she doesn't have a job and she doesn't have any responsibilities, and they decide to go to the movies. And I love that. Like, for me, that in itself is like a total retro trip. Like, they're like, we got nothing to do. There's a double feature at a cheap rundown theater somewhere. We're going to hit it up. And to me, that's almost like a dying thing in and of itself.
Yeah. When you're young and you're broke, what do you do?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you. She's an opportunist, but clearly, she may not be good for you, but you're going to have a good time. She might
Yeah,
take your
that's
wallet
right.
in the morning, but let's be honest, her stuff smelled and tasted like fresh strawberries. It was just fine.
Honey, you were like baby bear's porridge.
You were just right.
Thank you. I'm writing this down.
Oh, it's my
All
favorite
right.
place in the world.
Now we have to get to the Magic Club. The Magic Club is where she got fired from.
Okay, this is a
Susan
set.
Yeah,
This is not
this
real.
is right. Yeah. I
This-
just think there was a
this
real
is a
magic
set.
club, but I didn't know that this was a set.
There were
figured this-
plenty of places that this was based on, but
Uh-huh.
this is not an actual location that I know of. If
This is a set. Inside where they were filming, that's actually the same ballroom, the Audubon Ballroom in Harlem that Malcolm X was shot in.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I have not been there, but yeah, the interior does look legit. This is idealized a little bit. If you look at the columns and all that stuff going on next on the edges of the frame, but it's a good set. The sign is inaccurate. It's a little sloppy, but pretty typical of the decaying part of New York that artists and magicians and those types would have taken over.
There's another great bit part in the Magic Club. The maitre d', if you will, the master of ceremonies, is John Turturro.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
every time he opens his mouth in this movie, I laugh. It's hilarious.
Well,
There's lots of
just-
little up and coming cameos in this movie.
not
John
just because of his teeth, but yeah.
It's
John
hilarious.
John Turturro is the MC for the Magic Club. Giancarlo Esposito is the street vendor
Yeah.
that she accidentally tries to steal sunglasses from. Rocket's Red Glare is the taxi driver. So there's a lot in this movie that was cast.
Yeah, I have
Because
I have
of
some.
Seidalman's direction.
In fact, here is Rocket's Red Glare.
There he
now
is.
for
Yeah.
anyone who,
Hey. Nice teeth, buddy.
If
is wondering.
anyone doesn't know, yeah, Rocket's Red Glare was a fixture of the Lower East Side, and fairly gender fluid, even though that wasn't a term back in the time. Appeared in a lot of transgressive zero budget movies with people like Richard Kern and Nick Zed, Lydia Lunch. Just a fabulous presence. I never got the chance to meet him, but I've seen him in a dozen things.
What's your take on whether or not he was the actual killer or not?
Whew. Let me chew on that.
Does everybody know what we're talking about, by the way?
No,
Go ahead and talk it out.
So it was speculated that he was the actual killer of Nancy and not Sid.
oh,
That was the big theory for a long time.
Yeah, he was a fixture. He was there for all of it.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
Is he? Is he? It's I've seen Sid and Nancy not too long ago, but I was just wondering if his character is depicted in that film.
Not
but-
specifically
No,
to my memory.
so.
No.
Okay.
But that was the big speculation for a long time, was that he was the actual killer of Nancy and not Sid.
Interesting.
It was a different time,
Yes. 1982 or
77,
83,
78. Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that in forever.
Yeah, and I was going to look it up. I cannot remember her name.
Anne Magnuson. Anne Magnuson.
God, I miss Cigarette Girls. Oh
Yeah.
God.
I love
She
her little
is-
throwaway dialogue in this too. She's like,
Yep.
cigars, cigarettes, unleaded, regular.
Yeah.
I love all the
man.
smoking in this movie. I'm not going to
Yeah.
lie. I love the fact that everybody smokes cigarettes in this movie.
Let's
I miss
be
people
honest.
smoking cigarettes in movies. I don't care if it's politically incorrect or unhealthy.
Well, it's
I
visually.
like movies where people smoke.
Yeah, it's visually amazing. And this cigarette girl in this situation would not just be selling cigarettes. There would be
No.
something under the table.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, she is one half of Bong Water. And she also is the first victim in The Hunger.
Yeah,
She
she's
is killed. Yeah,
she's
she is killed by David Bowie.
yep.
No ice.
Wow.
Yeah, she is.
Wow.
But yeah, I am with you, Gravy. I love the Magic Club. I love the idea of the Magic Club. You know,
Yeah.
that it's a seedy, nasty bar that just always has magic and
And an old man band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want that
That's
old
a
man
great
band
thing.
in my house.
Yeah.
I want to adopt those guys.
Yeah, I wish I had more stills of that because it's definitely a reason to.
All the scenes in the
Check
Magic
it
Club are
out.
fantastic. I'm glad
Yeah.
that the actual the final climactic action of the film occurs here. It's great.
Well, you got to give the context. Show Black Lives comment. Come on now.
Yeah.
This isn't a confessional. Thank you. Jeez.
I just want my script refilled. Just refill my scripts.
Oh, my back. Oh.
Doc, it ain't ever getting better.
Yeah. Oh no. Well,
There's
Well, I
Gary.
gave up
it
cigarettes,
is. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
but I
Yeah,
didn't give
I-
up smoking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Cigarette
have given up cigarettes more than once in my life, but it's been a long time at this point. So I'm glad for that. But it does make me less cool. I'm not gonna lie.
I still pretend to smoke from time to time.
Oh, I miss them. I miss them.
Yeah. But well, let's get back to the movie here. We've got to talk about Gary because after she after Rosanna Arquette starts working at the Magic Club as the new apprentice for lousy magicians.
Where
Gary
she's told
here,
to take the birds home to practice.
yeah,
A lot.
Gary here is compelled to team up with Susan to find her, and they dance and smoke weed.
hmm
So great.
It's pretty awesome.
She takes him to what's it called again? Danceteria? Danceteria. And they dance, and then they drive all the way back to Fort Lee, New Jersey to get high.
Mm-hmm.
I like how, like, when he gets to this place, they're playing "Get Into the Groove," and you see Madonna sitting by a jukebox, like dancing to her own song. It's pretty
Uh-huh.
great.
Yeah.
I love that.
Dance for inspiration.
That's Colorado living right there. Dance and
Mhm.
smoke weed.
Dance and smoke weed. And then they eventually
Stephen Wright, man. I love Stephen
I
Wright.
love this. He's really
What?
good, isn't he?
He's-
These three are hilarious, man. All you gotta
Yeah.
do is look at them and you laugh. It's hilarious.
yeah. It really finds it finds like new humor as it goes along, did they introduce him earlier or does he just show up for this
No,
scene?
you
No, they
introduced him
introduced him.
earlier,
Yeah,
they-
okay.
but he doesn't really do anything.
He's a dentist.
Yeah.
yeah. He's a dentist.
That's
Let me
right.
And then
forget
here,
you.
he starts
Yeah.
to blossom. And interesting factoid, there is one Oscar winner in this movie. It is Stephen Wright.
Stephen
He's
Wright
won
won
an
an
Oscar?
Oscar?
For his
Stephen
comedy.
Wright
For his comedy.
has an Oscar for a short film that he wrote
Oh.
and starred in called The Appointments of Dennis Jennings.
Wow.
Better him than Pauly Shore.
Wow.
And
That
it was
I have
really
to
good.
watch.
It was really good.
He's one of my favorite stand-up comedians of all time. When Jeff and I were kids and we had my dad had cable.
Yeah,
And
HBO.
and there was HBO, but there was also the early days of the Comedy Channel
Yeah.
before it turned into Comedy Central. And pretty much they only showed two things: or three things. They showed lots of stand-up comedy, MST3K, and
Mhm.
Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
And Jeff and I watched a lot of stand-up comedy on the Comedy Channel, and Stephen Wright was a lot of clips from Stephen Wright, and he was always one of my favorites. Absolutely hilarious
Mhm.
stand-up
Yeah.
comedian.
I remember his HBO special too.
Yeah.
He still has one of my favorite jokes of all time, which is like it's like, I think I should be able to bring my own food into the movie theater, and concession stands are way too expensive. So I brought my food in. I wasn't going to argue. I was just going to do it. And I brought my own food in. And then the manager comes over. He's like, "Sir, you can't bring food into the theater." And I argued with him that, the concession stand was too expensive. And besides, it's been a really long time since I had a barbecue.
My favorite Stephen Wright joke is the old standard, which is I put instant coffee into the microwave and almost went back in time.
Awesome.
It was so great because he'd say stuff like that, and the audience, it would take a second for the audience to get it.
There's
and
always a delay.
There was always this delay, and then people would just start laughing like, Jesus Christ.
And he also, that deadpan style was never really a thing. I can't think of an older comedian that really did that way. I mean, maybe, what's his name? Take My Wife, Please. Henny Youngman, a little bit. But Stephen Wright took it to a whole new level.
Oh, yeah.
And he said it came out of stage fright. He said he would just stand there and be terrified. And so that became his shtick.
That's awesome. I think that at the most, like every once in a while, you'll see like comedians like smirk or laugh or something like that. But Stephen Wright, the most you would ever get is maybe just the hint of a smile.
Yeah.
During a set. That was it. Be the most you would ever get close to that.
Yeah, and you got to remember that was in a time where you had, Paula Poundstone saying stuff like, "Don't get me started." You know, I mean, like it was. We had Judy Tenuta.
Oh,
exactly.
Judy.
Oh my
Judy.
Judy Tenuta.
Oh, Judy.
The giver goddess.
There was a lot of bad comedy, but comedy was huge back then. And to stand out in stand-up comedy back then, you had to work hard.
Oh, yeah.
Things really changed for Susan Seidalman after she made this movie. Like, she never really went back to New York or the punk aesthetic. And one of the movies that she made soon after this is She-Devil with Roseanne Barr. I was just thinking about that movie.
Worst movies ever.
I was just thinking about that movie because you were talking about 80s stand-up and
you just gave me indigestion. Oh,
well, I mean, her follow-up to this movie was like Making Mr. Right, that John Malkovich robot comedy. I mean, it makes you appreciate the delicate balance of Desperately Seeking Susan more and more, because again, I feel like she goes to strange places and finds new ways to be funny and quirky.
What is the movie After Dark or After Midnight? David Bowie has a cameo in it. It's another one of these sort of running through the night things. Into the Night? Is that the movie?
Is he in Into the Night? Because Into the Night is not very good.
Is it Jeff Goldblum? I'm sorry, I'm being too vague. Go ahead.
Jeff Goldblum. Yes, you're right. It's John Landis's first film after he killed somebody. He's killed those kids.
Well, that'll leave a mark.
It's pretty. Yeah, it's actually pretty damn humorless. So,
but it's another one of these sort of city adventure sort of things with crazy situations over and over. And go ahead without me. I'm fine.
Yeah. I forgot where we were. We definitely talked a lot about Desperately Seeking Susan. We
should probably talk some more about it.
Yeah.
So we get her up to the magic club, and Gary and his sister and Stephen Wright are all there watching the Magic Club, and they realize that that's Roberta
That's
on
her.
stage.
That's Roberta on stage.
And
according to Stephen Wright, she's very good.
And her
Yeah.
Look how pleased he is. Yeah.
yeah,
And she was. She had been practicing.
She had been
Mhm.
practicing with the birds. Yeah.
and then what's his name comes in, and she's busy getting sawed off, sawed into by the
Sawed in
magician.
half.
Yeah,
It's another
And,
one of those visual metaphors.
and then the guy comes up and he snatches the wig off her head that has the earring in it and runs off. Right?
That's
Yes.
right.
Is that where that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but he
Yeah.
gets the earring and the wig, which
Yeah.
is kind of
Mhm.
funny. He's
Yeah.
carrying the wig for a few scenes afterwards.
Yeah.
Did I had to take go away from keyboard a few times. Did you guys explain the mugshot that she actually got picked up for suspicion of soliciting prostitution?
Yeah.
And her
Yes.
okay, and her sister-in-law,
Yeah.
she was a lesbian prostitute.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is my favorite running joke in the movie is that they keep referencing pimps and lesbians. Like it turns first she's arrested, for solicitation or whatever. No, she doesn't solicit. I don't know how those laws work. I'm sorry. I'll do more research. But she
I love when she gets bailed out though. She turns to the prostitute she's next to her, and she's like, "It was very nice meeting you."
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I do appreciate, and for its time, it's even better. But yeah, the whole I read that all prostitutes are lesbians or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's so ridiculous. Man.
it's
Yeah.
great. It's great. She has no idea. She's from the suburbs. She doesn't know.
Yeah.
Later on, he's like, "Are you a lesbian?" Yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when she got picked up too, she had the doves in the cage, and she gets set in the back of a cruiser next to a real prostitute. And the prostitute
Yes.
looks at the girl. She's like, "How do you use the birds?"
Yes, great line.
Yeah.
Great line.
Yeah. So I do think you can kind of see how this movie is kind of a tricky balance. Maybe that's what as a director she's drawn to, and it very often doesn't work out because I'm not suggesting.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm not suggesting we watch her next two films, but I bet if we did, we wouldn't find that we'd like them. that we wouldn't find them to be the pleasant surprise this film is.
Well, now I'm going to suggest them at the end of the show. So you just stepped on your own foot there.
Oh, I'm just glad we got past all that cocoon talk.
Yeah, let's not go there.
Just wait. I got my third round coming up, Jim.
My pulse was racing a little bit.
Seeing Wilford Brimley in a Speedo is not
breaking
the
out
same
the cold
since
sweat.
he died.
Nothing
Listen,
beats
I'm
a
already
lady boner
squeezing
except
down
an old man
a
boner.
stomach bug. I don't need to vomit now. No.
No.
I mean, Don Amici. Woo.
Oh
would-
God. Here we go.
Yeah, Don Amici gets his groove back.
What?
Birds, clearly.
Yes, birds and Rosanna.
Now it's Donna Mucho. That means a lot.
Hey, I don't know where we are. I don't know what we're doing.
No, we pretty much just we got to the end, like just as an afterthought. The movie is like, oh, and by the way, they got in the paper for rescuing those earrings. So
Well, I mean, the one scene that Madonna and Rosanna Arquette have in the movie is where she is basically kind of saves Madonna by hitting the bad guy over the head and
She does.
knocks him out. And that's the one scene that they have together.
And that's, obviously a recurring theme, getting a hit on the head. So
Yeah. But
And she says, "Good going, stranger."
yeah, nice going, stranger.
I just want to
Um,
give a shout out to the ball of discount yarn on Rosanna's head there from Joanne's.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was. You don't have to change slides. This one's fine.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Okay.
Yeah, please don't. Yeah.
we do like this one.
this
This
is
is
classic.
boxer shorts and garter belts. Fashion do,
Yeah.
fashion don't.
Garter stockings, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think we're all just happy about this.
It's an outfit that says I can truly pull off anything. Like, you know,
And I will.
it's gonna happen. So,
Yep. She's a naughty little muse.
yeah. Well, I do feel like we're getting to we've kind of just naturally found our way at a voting stage. So
Dusty rose being an iconic color for the 80s.
True.
Yes.
I had those throw pillows.
Yeah,
Waffles.
that's her bedroom, and that is Susan wearing her clothes, and apparently perhaps her husband's clothes as well, and reading her diary and making fun of it.
She's
So
been
again,
through the closet, yeah.
Yeah. So again, like, I'm telling you, you don't want Susan in your life. Okay, might be fun, but you know what is the price of that ticket?
She's a fantasy. She's a fantasy. You don't really want to go there, but it if you're unsatisfied in some way, that's where your mind wanders. I do want to point out the lamp on the bed table there. That is a display lamp. If younger people don't know, this is a very popular thing. You could fill it with jelly beans or seashells or whatever. I have one filled with my original Star Wars figures.
Beanie Babies.
Oh, nice.
Babies.
Beanie Babies. Yeah, you could do that too. Yeah, that's a display lamp. There's nothing in it for some reason. Looks like there might be some gravel.
No, I think it is him.
They were just, that's how cool they were, that their display lamp was empty.
That's how clueless.
But they have nothing to display because their lives are hollow.
Exactly.
And seen.
A complete lack of cool.
There you go.
Common people, I love the way Madonna looks in Dick Tracy. Definitely the best part of Dick Tracy. And
that is not saying much, by the way. And let's be clear,
right?
So,
and also
fucking unwatchable. That is goddamn piece of shit.
When we talk about Madonna's singles, I don't want to overlook Hanky Panky, one of my favorites, because it's fucking ridiculous. It's hilarious.
So I went to see Dick Tracy in the theaters by myself in a matinee. I was a Madonna fan. I was a huge fan.
I just felt bad for you that you're by yourself and you had no one to vent to.
But
wait, what's that butter?
When it got to the point in the Dick Tracy when Madonna dies, the two Hispanic girls behind me.
Oh, spoilers! I haven't seen it yet.
Oh,
you've never watched that god awful piece of shit?
You didn't yell about it when I told you the story earlier.
Excuse me. No, I never watched that piece of shit.
The two Hispanic girls behind me, when she died, goes, "Oh, pobrecito Madonna."
That's awesome.
Oh, pobrecita Madonna.
Oh, Madonna.
Don't cry for Argentina.
Okay, Madonna.
Sandra, how many more movies do you have to watch to get all of the Madonna films? You said you're up to 10, right?
I think that's only halfway through. I think she's got 20-something movies.
Oh. Have you seen the NC-17 one? I think it's Willem Dafoe is the person she's.
Yeah, I can't think of what it's called, but she drips hot candle wax all over him.
Yes, I've seen that movie. Yes, I've seen that movie. Of course,
they say it's hung like a Milton Berle.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of like the rock star
Body of
millionaire.
Evidence. That's what it was
Yeah.
called.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
The
Yeah.
rock star millionaire screenwriter who's responsible for Basic Instinct and
So she's
Sliver.
made,
I think he wrote
Madonna's
that.
made 27 feature films, 11 short films, 3 plays.
27.
Yeah, she did. She was on Broadway. She did Speed the Plow, and she was she got horrible reviews in it because at one point she just started laughing. She got the giggles and she couldn't stop on stage on
Oh
Broadway.
my god.
Oh,
Oh my
shit.
god.
That's rough.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of her movies. Who has seen who hasn't seen A League of Their Own? That's a Madonna movie.
I
Oh
love A
yeah,
League
that's
of Their Own.
right. That's a great movie. I love it.
Yeah, Babs loves that movie.
Great.
I do love that movie.
Yeah.
There's no crying in baseball.
And then Evita. Who hasn't seen Evita? I thought
I
that
have
was
never.
I have
I've
not.
seen Evita.
No.
Did you
Yeah,
see her movie Swept Away? Because that was where I think she got panned for that movie. She tried to be serious. She did a foreign film and it was a flop.
I
She
don't
got
remember that one.
She was stranded on an island with a volleyball.
no that
She was stranded on an island, but I feel like she got slapped in the face or something. Like I don't remember
And an
exactly.
ice skate. Yeah.
she and Guy Ritchie made a movie that she got.
That was Swept Away.
That was
that
it.
was Swept.
Oh, that was
okay.
Swept Away. Okay.
Okay.
That was when
Yeah,
they
she
got
got-
married, right? That was-
Yes, she got raked over the coals for that.
Yeah.
That's something that did happen to Madonna more than once in her life. She got married and collaborated creatively with her husband and with not the best results.
Well, no, because she did. What was the movie that she did with Sean Penn?
Sean Penn. I'm trying to think of what it is.
Oh, here,
but
hold on. Let's see.
it,
I forgot the title.
it was a tank, though. I mean, it
Oh, it was
Yeah.
a disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shanghai Surprise.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my
Shanghai-
god!
Surprise.
Whoa!
And it
Yeah,
was
that
awful.
bombed.
Yeah, she
Alright.
wouldn't need any makeup.
Who's
today,
that? And who's that girl was
Yeah.
not great either.
No, it wasn't that good.
It was better than Shanghai Surprise.
So
I confused Shanghai Surprise and Who's That Girl, and they were made back to back. They were a year apart.
Oh yeah, who's that girl? Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
think I've ever seen that, but I remember that I hadn't thought of that in years.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, she did like a full album soundtrack kind of thing to that. There's a Who's That Girl album, isn't there?
Yes.
I
Uh-huh.
remember not
Yeah.
hating it.
it's probably one of her better movies.
Oh, Four Rooms is also one of her better movies. Everybody's seen Four Rooms.
She's in 4 Rooms?
Yes.
Oh,
She-
yes.
yeah.
yeah.
Oh shit.
I don't think she's she's not in the she's in the fourth best, right? It's not a very good story in Four
Is she the
Rooms.
dead hooker under the mattress? I don't remember her in that at all. But I did recently find the source material for the one scene in 4 Rooms where the guy is where they're betting on him chopping his finger off with the Zippo.
Yeah.
Peter Lorre is in it,
Ooh.
and that segment of that movie is a direct ripoff of a TV show.
I'm not surprised that it's
Well, you might see
heavily
it
heavily borrowed.
you might see it some Friday night.
Oh, I would love to.
All right.
I love old TV. Like I keep throwing it at you.
Yeah.
All right.
All right,
No,
Go ahead.
we can't.
Let's
We
not
can't
go
just
there.
start. We can't just turn into B-sides all of a sudden. We have to vote on this movie, and then we have to pick something else.
Yes, all right.
We got more chatting to do. Well, thank you for joining us, common people. Have a good night.
Cheers, Common.
Thanks for hanging out. It was really good to see you. All right, so the first person to vote. I'm pretty sure I know how the voting's going to go, but I still want to hear some final thoughts. Anything you guys still want to say about this movie. So we'll start with Barbara.
Oh, I absolutely recommend this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it was not something that it wasn't something that I'd seen in a really long time. I think like I said, I saw it once in the theaters, and then I don't think I ever went back and visited again, even though I did like it at the time. And coming back and watching it again, I think I enjoyed it just a little bit more. Even I thought it was a good amount of fun. I think her performance is fine. I think all of the performances are fine. I think the direction is wonderful. I love that the city of New York is its own character in this movie.
Oh yeah.
It's an essential character to this movie, and I don't think that it could be shot anywhere else. Truthfully, it's just that perfect. And the supporting cast is fantastic. The costumes are amazing. The soundtrack is a banger. I do. I love this movie. I think it's a great movie, and absolutely, I would 100% recommend it.
Awesome. We'll just move right on down the line. Adam, how are you feeling?
I feel like Barbara stole all my lines.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, babe.
Normally, Jake Goodwin is here.
So
to
it
do that.
goes.
Yeah. As a New Yorker, being there at the time, this is one of the best rewatches I've done in recent memory. I hadn't seen it since it released. I can't remember. I probably did not see this in the theater. I probably saw it when it first hit cable, or when I was working in a video store. I was really impressed, and I think, not to get too sappy, that even to casual viewers, whether they know it or not, this is a great snapshot of the height of New York City and the Lower East Side. It's very real. It's not a perfect movie by any stretch, but it is a very fun ride. The cameos are fantastic, as you can see on screen. I feel like I like this movie twice as much now on the rewatch. I am so. It's not just nostalgia. It's like it's become more charming to me in a lot of ways, and it's a wonderful documentary of that time in filmmaking, of that time in New York, and in that time of people's careers. I want to duck out for just a second. Barbara discovered some amazing fact today about one of the actors in this film. And no, go ahead, please.
Okay,
shout it out now.
The actor who played Jim, Robert Joy, who does a great job as Jim, as the boyfriend.
I don't know if I have a Jim. Damn it!
I don't think you have a Jim in the slideshow. But Jim is.
Just imagine Richard Hell, but less heroin.
Right.
Right.
I spent like a good part of the movie being like, is that Richard Hell? You know, like I was like, is that
right.
Jim?
Right.
So Robert Joy plays Jim, the one who is always desperately seeking Susan, and he's so fantastic. And I didn't realize it until today when I was, kind of looking up some trivia. Robert Joy plays a character in one of Adam and I's favorite TV shows right now, and that's Julia, the Julia Child show that's on HBO.
And it is fantastic.
That's who she's watching on TV. In the
that's
kitchen,
right.
Isn't it?
Yeah, she's watching Julia Child in the kitchen. Yeah.
There you go.
And I didn't realize.
TV in this shot,
and I didn't realize that was a link to it, but he plays Hunter, who is the producer of WGH in Boston. He's Julia Child's boss. He's the station manager in the show Julia, and he plays such a completely different character. He's this very nebbishy, very worried guy,
sort of neurotic,
very neurotic,
dog in
and
the
then
machine sort of guy. Yeah,
and you flash back 30 years and he's, a punk rocker. And
Yeah,
I
she
just
told
think that's great.
yeah, she told
Yeah.
me that today, and I lost my shit. I could
Yeah,
not
it was
believe it was
just
an actor.
amazing.
He looks
Julia-
great. He looks great as a punk rocker. He looks very authentic.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
looks like he was just cast off the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you could see him in a perfectly opposite role, which he is commanding. Like he is owning it in the Julia show. Totally recommend it. So to get
Awesome.
back,
Yeah.
this movie is wonderful. If you love movies, this is an amazing movie. If you're just a casual watcher, you may not get as much out of it. You probably won't. It's not just because I was there then that I enjoyed this rewatch so much. I think it's really fun, really charming, really delightful. Obviously, watching Madonna is time well spent, but everyone else in this movie is great too, and it's a good little script. I mean, I'll give this as objective as I can be. I'll give this an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I
Great.
would too, actually.
Totally recommend
Yeah, totally recommend this movie.
to anyone of any age.
All right. And Gravy, how are you feeling?
Oh yeah, I'm 100% like in agreement here. I had a great time. I had a great time watching this movie. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, did you like it better this time than when you saw it 20 years ago with your, on an early date with your wife?
Yeah, actually, I did. Of all the times I've watched this movie, this is the most enjoyment I've gotten out of it by far. So I think in the context of our show, where it's like, hey, if you saw this movie a long time ago and you enjoyed it and you wondered if it would hold up, it's a 100%. I think it's a rarity.
Agreed.
In the case of the
That it
show,
holds
that like
up,
it's
right?
you'll probably enjoy it more now than you did when you watched it a while ago.
I did.
And I don't mean any offense to anybody, but this is my favorite chick flick.
Wow. All right.
Favorite chick flick.
I
Yeah,
don't
if
think
that's
that's
okay to
offensive
say,
at
I
all.
don't. I
I
it's
think
not.
that's actually a fair. I think that's actually a really fair.
It's a real chick flick because it was
Yeah, because it's a real chick flick. It was
So
made by
that's
women.
why I said it. I feel like it
And,
is. So but I didn't want to offend. I
Stars
didn't,
women. It was
it's
made
not
by
cool,
women. I
don't
think
wanna
that's
say.
I think that's wholly appropriate.
Yeah, and that's the difference is that it was made by women.
Yeah,
And that goes a long way.
yeah, and I think there's a very feminine perspective in this movie that's very cool, and it's multifaceted because you have two really important female characters that are almost mutual leads. But Rosanna Arquette's character Roberta, she goes through more of a character arc. She's the lead because she goes through the change in the film. She goes through the transformational experience, whereas like that doesn't happen with Susan. Susan is a muse. She is a fixture. She is she's Susan, and she's like this vibrant and very like just free and sexually aware of herself, and it's really cool. My wife is a huge fan of this movie. This is a hugely influential this movie. I know Jeff's probably the only person that's met my wife in this panel, and Jeff, if you can think back to when Nikki and I like first met and were dating, and you kind of think about maybe what her apartment looked like and the clothes she had laying around, and I mean, like I look, it was just so funny, like seeing that thrift store, or some of the apartments in the Lower East Side. Like it's very much like, oh my god, like yeah, this is like the template for my wife's style as a young adult for sure. So of course I dig it.
I think I like your wife. I think you did well.
Yeah, she's pretty cool.
All right.
But yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Salvage this puppy. Own it. It's a hoot. I couldn't believe how much I laughed at it. It's a really funny movie, too.
I was shocked
really
at how
charming.
much I enjoyed this. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Buttercup, didn't you say it had been quite a while for you seeing this, right? Had it been a while?
So I was 15 when this movie came out. So this movie is definitely, was probably directed at me. I loved this movie. I loved everything about this movie at the time. I'm a huge Madonna fan. I'm still a huge Madonna fan. And yeah, I mean, I agree with Gravy that her fashion at the time was extremely influential to, you know, my demographic. And we all like everybody that I went to high school. So I was a freshman in high school. 100% everybody was dressing like Madonna with the bows in the hair and the black lace and the gloves. That was just the style. So, you know, she was very influential. And I think this movie does hold up. I also recommend it. I think the plot and the characters are more laughable now, you know, but overall, I think it's, you know, super awesome. Love it.
Cool. Excellent. Yeah, one thing that I was thinking about is, you know, you would almost think that like the ad, I can't remember the ad campaign exactly, but it seemed like it really kind of pointed to this being more of like an espionage, you know, kind of Hitchcock-esque, you know, cat and mouse or whatever. And it's, you know, it's kind of cool that it just negates that, really. You know, it's like, oh yeah, they are sort of being chased by this one guy, you know, like, but really it's
You bring up something though. This would be a tricky film to advertise to, right?
Yeah. It's most of its jokes are kind of more successful, you know, because they have callbacks and they're compounded. There's not a lot of catchphrases for your, you know, your trailer that's really going to stick out or anything. But you know, who cares? You got Madonna, okay, but she's huge. But yes, I enjoyed it too. I did really like, you know, speaking of compound jokes, like just gonna give a shout out one more time to the lesbian pimp, or you know, like lesbian prostitute and pimp running joke.
Lesbian pimp sounds pretty good.
Yeah, lesbian
It's going to
pimp.
be my new band name.
Well, I'm pretty sure
My
Shirley
new rap
Winters.
name.
My new
Lesbian
job.
Shirley Winters plays a lesbian pimp in Cleopatra Jones. So if you're not aware of this, maybe check that movie out and thank me later.
I have a quick side note. If anyone hasn't seen Cleopatra Wong, find a copy. Holy crap, we've been talking about it on a couple of other shows. Wowie, wow. Cleopatra Wong, it says it all. There you go.
Gotcha. All right. So I would definitely recommend this to someone who remembers it fondly from the past. I really could not tell you when I saw it originally and how long ago it was, but I definitely did not see this like, you know, it wasn't one of those movies that was on cable and I would always pay attention to it when it was or anything like that. You know, like this was very much a super foggy memory for me. I had no idea what it was about.
Same.
And I really enjoyed it, and I would certainly recommend it. And I think there's a good chance you might like it even more. I think it definitely benefits from nostalgia. You know, like
I think it benefits from nostalgia, you know, and obviously, you know, I'm invested in that time and place, but I also think it benefits greatly from distance, from a little bit of perspective. Looking back on this, it's not just nostalgia. It's not just that I owned those socks. Like it looks better in hindsight. It really does. It shines a little brighter from a distance.
I really like the observation of the difference between the two styles, and you know they're both very like recognizable, relatable. They're not manufactured. They don't feel like, you know, manufactured. You know,
No,
like, how do you do, fellow kids? You know, like it
Yeah, there's one of the biggest one of my biggest pet peeves is poor period art direction. So watching something that was actually made in the time and place, seeing how not everything is so glossy, not everything is so sort of constructed or whatever. Like if you watch something made recently about the 70s or the 80s or the 90s, it always falls flat. It's one of my biggest problems with Boogie Nights is that it looks like ass to me because it doesn't look real. It looks like a reboot of that period. So it's really nice to spend a little bit of time in the period on a low budget film that just shows what things were like. Like I really appreciate that.
It's kind of like watching Boogie Nights in contrast to watching Saturday Night Fever. Saturday Night Fever is disco, but it's dirty and is made at the time of disco, and it's like guys are doing drugs and getting drunk and acting like assholes, and it's kind of gross.
It feels like
it's very real
when you watch.
Here, let's get the Wizards vote in here real quick.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
We're digressing, and remind me next time, Wizard. With this format, we have to go in the opposite direction next time. So remind me.
We absolutely don't.
You keep getting stuck at the end.
Or in the end.
Yeah. We'll turn the camera off for that.
It's a bookend.
Please don't.
Yeah.
So no, I my memories of it are very vague. I don't remember exactly when I saw it. I don't think I went to the theater, but I do remember watching it and I liked it.
Yeah.
Revisiting it now, I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it this time. It was, I remember liking it. I thought it was a good movie. It was surprisingly funny, which I did come in expecting kind of the screwball comedy.
Like The Earthling.
That we got from it. Like
Well, it's not quite. It's a more sophisticated screwball than say Mannequin, though.
Yeah, I mean,
Right,
we're comparing Mannequin to Hellzapoppin' here, I think.
when I told Tara, my wife, that I thought it was really funny. She said, I would not have expected that. So on the revisit, it was much more of the comedy than I remembered. And no, I thoroughly liked it. I would highly recommend. I think it benefits from a revisit. And watching it again, you might like it more than you did the first time.
Well, all right. Hooray!
It's a unanimous.
It's a unanimous yes. And let me tell you, like, if you're getting a unanimous yes from us, like, yeah, that's legit. That's legit.
Yeah. This is I haven't been on more than a couple of shows, but I feel like even just the tank we're swimming in, this feels like a rare home run.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
And just as a quick side note of disparity, if you want, just for comparison,
Sure.
Rosanna Arquette made this movie and Silverado. Both came out in 1985. And Silverado was a much, bigger cast. It was, an ensemble cast. And she was not the lead. She played a farmer's wife, a widowed farmer's wife. And she does just a stellar performance in that small role there that she does in this movie. But I think that says a lot about her as an actor, that she was willing to stretch and grow and try so many different things.
Well, and she was really good at all of them.
Yeah, she really was. She was really good at all of them.
I think that thought, Babs, actually just popped into my head. I think one of the things that is so great about this movie for me personally, if I can use that horrible phrase, is this is New York filmmaking as opposed to Hollywood filmmaking.
Yeah.
And and it's not just nostalgia for being there, but there's a very different vibe going
Yeah.
on. This is a completely different production
Yeah.
than
Oh yeah, definitely.
yeah, and it shows, and there's a sort of authenticity here.
Well,
I-
it's very special because of how close the director was to this scene when she
Yeah.
made this movie. Like she got signed and she still stayed right where she was doing what she was already doing, and a lot of those extras, like the guy who takes the personals, like
Oh,
you
yeah.
hand him the personal and he reads it
Yeah.
aloud. He's in a band, right?
Yeah.
Everyone in this movie
Yeah.
is in a
Yeah.
band.
Yeah.
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 It's a very cool snapshot of 80s New York
Yeah.
City for sure.
Yeah.
and
Agreed.
that's what I love. One of the things that I just absolutely love about this movie is that New York is such a central character to this movie. I don't
Yeah.
think you could take this movie and film it in another location.
Agreed.
It's
Yeah.
not like you can take this same movie and go shoot it in LA. If you shot it in LA, it would be a completely different
Oh, totally.
film.
Yeah, I guarantee you, like Dez's apartment, they just
Mhm.
found that apartment like
Yeah.
that. Like, oh, this
Yeah.
is perfect. You know,
Yeah, it was probably just
Oh,
a showroom or something. Yeah.
his
We
apartment
forgot
is
to mention-
badass, man.
We forgot to mention how authentic it felt with those doors like being
Yeah.
used as like a wall in a studio part. Like, that
Yeah.
was cool.
Yeah, and that those spaces existed in New York back then.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at something like the show Friends, that never existed in that timeline. That was
Right.
gone by then. That was
Yeah.
just
Yeah, there's no way they would never have been able to afford
no
an apartment
no
in
no
that
no
place, right?
no no. You were
Maybe
you were,
if all 6 of them lived in the same apartment.
well
Yeah.
even so, you would be covered in
Right.
roaches. You would not
Yeah.
have plumbing. You
Yeah.
know, it was the 80s was like pretty much the peak of the rebirth of New York City, and then of
Mhm.
course it went too far. But
Yeah.
yeah, this is an amazing time capsule. I'm delighted that we got to see this again.
Excellent. Well, I'm pretty sure it's my turn to pick, if I'm not mistaken.
Ooh.
Vincent Price laugh.
But I wanted to do like I want to keep this trend going where we throw up different, like more than one title, because I do like
Let's vote.
talking.
Yeah,
I do
let's
like
vote.
talking about it a little bit. And, anyone still listening, watching along is more than welcome to throw in as well. So the last movie I picked had a lot of what would have defined my taste as a kid, but it didn't have any robots in it, and I was robot obsessed. It's funny that I loved Howard the Duck so much because I was also duck obsessed, but that was just one duck movie. That was it. There were no other duck movies. But anytime a robot was in a movie, that it elevated my opinion of that movie highly. So one robot movie, yes. I'll put it to you this way. I wouldn't rule it out, if somebody was if someone was
I'm not opposed to the idea.
if someone was that's a robot, and I was like, really? Then
What's
you
this
probably
hole for?
does that mean they have extra holes? Okay. We're diverging.
Bionics.
All right. I'm glad we all like robots. That makes me excited.
And robot sex.
Yeah. So I have extreme. I'm going to start with.
Oh
the
God, we're
Vegas-
watching the original Westworld, aren't we?
No,
No,
it's
no,
Saturn
no.
3. It's Saturn 3.
I love the original. I love the original Westworld, but I have the vaguest memory of this movie. But I know when I was a kid, I saw it at least once and really liked it. But from the time that it came out, if I saw it around that time, I would have been pretty dang young. We're talking I think it's like.
Oh, come on, man!
I know. I'm
Heartbeats. Heartbeats, starring Andy Kaufman.
God.
So that's one. Gosh, guys, what? I've never seen it. Since I was. But I remember I have this recollection as a kid that I really liked.
My doctor says I'm Andy Kaufman intolerant.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Oh my god! Popular diagnosis.
We already know you don't go to the doctor.
Well, by my doctor, I mean the other voice in my head.
Yeah. He's also my attorney.
And you should listen to him.
All right. Well, probably not heartbeats. Okay,
what
let's
else
move on.
you got, Jeff? I still want to be friends with you.
These are all movies that I have not revisited at all, but liked when I was a kid. So the other one is, Black Hole. I love the robots in Black Hole. Love the idea of Old Bob and.
I had the bed sheets.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well into
we
my
did
high
too.
school years.
We had the beach towel.
Yeah. Okay.
So that movie's got a robot in it that I loved.
Which one? Wait, which robot?
Old Bob was without a doubt.
All right, good answer.
Robot.
Good answer.
Probably one of my childhood.
Yeah, he's voiced by Slim Pickens, dude. He's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Space Camp has a robot in it, and Leah
Rocky
Thompson.
Rocky 4 has a robot.
That was a good.
And we're not talking about Polly.
Yeah.
If Polly had squandered all of my money, I'd have the robot kill Polly.
Yeah.
Like Chopping Mall. Chopping Mall meets Rocky 4.
Hi, yes, Real Doll. Yeah. Do you do
I have a
do you do
custom
a
order.
poly? Do you do a poly model? I mean, do you already have one, or from Rocky 4 specifically?
I want it to
I
look
want a
like
Rocky 4 era poly.
Can you voice
Real
it with
doll.
Slim Pickens? Yeah.
With extra holes.
Yeah. What is wrong with you people?
It's called a callback. All right.
Telling someone you're going to be in trouble. Take you on restriction.
Is that it?
What's in
You have
that?
another?
What's in that
Yeah,
closet?
we're this is taking forever. We're gonna.
Yeah.
What's the?
Okay.
Is there
What was
another
it?
choice?
It's heartbeats. No, I think I'm just gonna go with those three. Right? Yeah.
What three? What three are we at?
Yeah. It's Space Camp. Never revisited Space Camp. Never revisited Black Hole or Heartbeats.
I would love to revisit the Black Hole.
Black Hole all the way. All the way.
I have not seen that since it first came out.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Damn.
Really?
Never seen Black Hole?
I was leaning towards Space Camp, but
Yeah.
Well, babe,
I've never
that's what
seen
we're
Black
watching
Hole.
in bed tonight. Bless.
It's not an instructional video.
On many levels. It's not an instructional video on how to hash together an ending either.
Yeah, I know
Well,
Andy. Yeah, I know Andy Perkins is in it, and there's a really awesome, badass evil robot.
It has a crazy
Maximilian.
cast.
Yeah,
It has Ernest Borgnine.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I'm
What are we
sold.
even arguing about? Ernest Borgnine.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
Buttercup
gonna
was.
maintain.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
Buttercup was that it? Was Ernest Borgnine the clincher?
That's it. That was the clincher.
That was the clincher for me as well.
I
All
always
right.
loved you, Empress Buttercup.
Yeah,
All right, sorry, Gravy. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say I was gonna maintain total neutrality on this decision because I actually watched the Black Hole about 2 years ago, and because it was on Disney Plus.
No
Oh,
spoilers.
And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I think I want to watch this. And I made my kids and I watch it. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything.
Okay.
So
Too soon.
All right. Too soon. Well.
Does anyone vote against the black hole?
oh, I absolutely do not vote against the Black Hole. I think you should definitely
I think
watch
we
Black
should
Hole.
do. Yeah, we should do the Black Hole. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sold to the man in
All right.
the cheap chair with a great facial hair.
Excellent.
There you go.
Excellent. From the guy who said we're going to stop doing live action Disney films. Is there a cat? Is there a cat in the black hole?
Ernest Borgnine. I mean,
is there a talking dog?
Who cares? You got a robot that's voiced by Slim Pickens.
Yeah, Maximilian Schell, Slim Pickens, Anthony Perkins. Who is the actress?
I don't know, but
she's a super icon.
It got sampled by the Wu-Tang Clan. What more do you want?
Yeah, there's robots
I can't remember who it was.
There's robots that like gunsling, right? Aren't there gunslinging robots where they're like
they're awesome. Yep.
Okay.
There's fireballs.
I'm not going to say anything. You guys just need to watch the Black.
Robert Forster's in this.
It's
Robert Forster.
It's a great cast.
Oh man.
There's really ill-fitting beige jumpsuits. There's fireballs. There's fantastic practical effects and miniature work. The script we don't need to talk about, but yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
All right. I'm down.
Oh man, you're right. I do have to check. I was gonna type in "fuck you" heartbeeps, but
I'll type it.
Apparently I'm I do have to adjust the settings on there. So
yeah, you do have to adjust your comment settings to
allow. Heartbeeps could still happen.
Yeah. Later on.
Shut your mouth.
I mean,
I
think the other one I was going to say is batteries not included because I
mine wouldn't go through either. I tried typing the exact same thing. Nope.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be curious to watch batteries not included again too. Another one I thought of that we could put on the old robot movie list would be the one with there was this movie, I can't remember the name of it. The family gets a robotic grandma, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was. They get a robotic grandma. I remember finding it kind of charming when I was a kid, so it's kind of been on my personal list.
Yeah.
Robot grandma.
Yikes.
As long as it's not Robot in the Family.
Does anyone remember?
It's the electric grandmother. It's the electric
grandmother. Now that does
the
actually.
electric grandmother.
It's funny because now I don't know if I ever saw that, but that does sound familiar. You remember Small Wonder, the TV show about the robot lady?
That was weird.
Yeah, the robot kid sister.
That was weird.
It's getting late now. We're reaching the end of the episode here, right?
We're reaching.
Do you want to talk about Perfect Strangers?
No.
Small Wonder and
no. I'll give you a bosom buddies. I'll meet you in the middle. We can do bosom buddies, but that's it.
All right. I'm sure.
Sorry, you're in charge here.
I'm sure bosom buddies has aged really well.
Just gonna circle back really quick to the movie. Yes. There was an original ending where instead of the Rosanna Arquette and Madonna joining hands in celebration and being hailed as heroes for returning the earrings to Egypt, they are shown being invited to Egypt as a reward for returning the earrings of Nefertiti. And the last scene is the two of them on camels next to the pyramids.
Shut the front door.
That was the original ending of the movie. Trivia done.
I'm so
wow, man.
And then they became best friends.
Far out.
Oh, maybe the real skeletons were inside us all along.
Dramatic. Egypt.
Did they then start to inhabit the bodies of mannequins?
Yes.
I'd watch that.
We did.
Right.
It's called Mannequin.
Yeah.
Oh man. Wow. All right. Sounds like black hole for everyone.
All right. I can't wait. I can't wait to get into this black hole. What is the date going to be? The 29th. The 29th. So
Won't Pumpkinhead be surprised?
yes. So thank you for joining us, everyone. I want to thank our panelists, and a special thank you to Adam for jumping in.
Oh, my pleasure. It
yeah.
gets more fun every time, and it hurts a little less.
Yeah. Well, maybe one of these days we'll chip in and get more than 6 panelists. I don't know. So, I haven't really looked into it, but
from a management standpoint,
Mhm.
I find that 6 is the most cats you want to wrangle at once. Otherwise, people
Yeah.
just start talking over each other. We may have 7 Friday for the Roger Corman tribute, but I'm a little hesitant, and I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings that wants to be
Right.
on. But it's a lot. It's harder with riffing, but even just doing discussion, having more than 6 people is a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot.
I could see that. Yeah. I mean, we're all we got pretty good flow on this show, and we still talk over each other all the time.
do. And I like to flow on the show every 28
Yeah.
days. That's about my schedule.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to see y'all in a couple weeks. It's going to be the 29th. And thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Mick. Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, everybody.
Man.
It was a good time. Thank you.
All right.
Bye,
guys.
Bye.
Good night. Careful getting home.